said they didn't want to report them because they think it might be racial profiling. Did you see that? No, did you see that? And I'm not sure, do I believe the person? Can anybody be that dumb? But they didn't want to report because they didn't want to be involved with racial profiling. We have become so politically correct that we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Is he right? Has political correctness become dangerous? Joining me now is Carol Swain. She's a law professor at Vanderbilt University. She's written a controversial article about political correctness and Muslims. Is Donald right? Is Donald right in this particular case, Professor?
He's absolutely correct that political correctness is preventing people from using their common sense. And the racial profiling, the fear that many whites have, as well as I believe many minorities, is causing people to be reluctant to report things that they see in front of them. And it's not just that they don't want to be involved directly with the police. I think that they fear of the government, the backlash from the government if they step out and report what they see.
You know, a decade ago, I wrote a book on this subject, and I argued that the mindset at home of giving every kid a participation trophy could ultimately rein in our ability to win the war on terror. And many people thought I was crazy when I advanced that theory, but it sounds like I was correct.
I believe that you were correct, and that we are following a very dangerous pattern in the U.S., and that our trajectory when it comes to being able to protect our citizens and to have an effective society is being diminished. And a lot of it is connected to Islam and Muslims, and the fact that any criticisms of Islam is called Islamophobia. And I think Islamophobia and the fear that you're going to be labeled as a racist, a bigot, causes people not to do the right thing. And that's dangerous for our society.
You have caused a bit of a stir on the Vandy campus. Let me put up on the screen something you published in the Tennessean that caused a lot of blowback. What would it take to make us admit we were wrong about Islam? What horrendous attack would finally convince us that Islam is not like other religions in the United States, that it poses an absolute danger to us and our children unless it is monitored better than it has been under the Obama administration? What was the result on campus after those words appeared in print?
Well, the dean of students took the very unusual act, I've never seen this done before, of sending out a campus-wide email encouraging the students to get counseling or to engage in expressive action and or dialogue. And so the students organized and denounced me for my bigotry and hatred. And it was a very, it was stunning to me, the reaction, because I've never seen a university respond the way they did over an opinion piece in a local newspaper. I believe that everything that's happened since January 15th, when that article was first run online, has vindicated my position, and that more and more Americans are waking up and seeing that unless we begin to deal with the threat that is in our land, that the future is going to be grim for us. And I think we're going to have more terrorist attacks because we're not doing anything to prevent it.
I know that the Vice Chancellor said we are in no way condoning or supporting the views stated in your editorial, and understand that they are deeply offensive to many members of our community, Muslim and non-Muslim alike. Professor, there have been a number of incidents in the media recently. I think of the controversy over Woodrow Wilson at Princeton University that draw on some of the same themes of political correctness. Is this all causally connected? In other words, the reaction on campus to different incidents at a time when this terror threat continues to be pervasive. What's the big picture?
Well, first of all, there's viewpoint discrimination, that if a liberal professor writes an article that's controversial, students may be offended, the community may be offended, the university immediately protects their academic freedom. And so I was treated very differently. I think that what's taken place on the college campuses is dangerous in that we are coddling students in such a way that they're not going to be able to function in the real world. That this college environment where they have all these safe spaces, we don't have safe spaces out in the world. And I believe that administrators are failing students, that we, the adults, ought to be teaching the students to respect the Constitution, to respect the First Amendment, to respect religious freedom and freedom of association. We're not doing that. We're letting the young people that have no experience run the organizations, and that's a serious mistake. And we should not be changing the names of buildings, and we should not be dealing with the students in the way that we are. We need to help them become adults.
Well, I think you can have it both ways. I'm for civility, and I'm also for fair and open exchange of ideas on controversial subjects. Otherwise, I don't think we get anywhere. Thank you, Professor Swain.
Right.
I appreciate you being here.